Origin Unexplained.
Part 2, Case File DIA Code Black. You don't even have to go underground for Denver International Airport to start messing with your head. Some of the creepiest stuff is hiding in plain sight, right there in the open, almost like it's daring you to notice. From the murals that we mentioned that look like dystopian war scenes to strange symbols etched into the floor, there's an eerie boldness to it all. But just when you think you can't get weirder, we're going to start peeling back the layers, because beneath those runways lies a hidden world that takes the mystery to a whole new level. This is part 2, where the strange turns sinister, and what's visible is just the tip of something much deeper. I'm Sue, and this is Origin Unexplained, and today this is part 2 of Case File DIA Code Black, and boy, let me tell you, it gets deep. So, we're going to start off this second part of the podcast with the big question: who is actually behind all of this? Is it the Bilderberg Group? Is it the Bohemian Grove crowd? Could it even be another elite group like the Rothschilds? One of those powerful families that always seem to be tied to global influence and secrecy? We don't know for sure, but we do know this, that the Freemasons left a very real, very deliberate mark on Denver International Airport. So let's get into the Masonic connection. So now we're going to start with the Masonic connection. When you walk into the Jeppesen terminal, the main terminal of Denver International Airport, one of the first things that stands out, if you're actually looking, is their dedication stone. It's polished, mounted into the floor near the south entrance, and it carries a lot more than just ceremonial meaning. Right there, boldly carved into the surface, is the symbol of the Freemasons, the compass and the square. This is not some small hidden engraving tucked into a corner. It is right in the open. Now let's talk about the date that's engraved on that stone, March 19th, 1994. So, when you take that date and add the numbers together, 1 plus 9 plus 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 4, it equals 33. That may not mean much to the average traveler walking by, but to those familiar with Masonic tradition, it says everything. 33 is the highest degree in Freemasonry. It is the top. It represents full initiation, higher knowledge, and power. That number showing up on a Masonic dedication in one of the most controversial airports in the world is not a coincidence. All right. So, sorry for the change in sound. I am not on the microphone right now because I just realized something while I was editing the podcast. So, we have the date that equals up to 33, which we all know is the Masonic number, the highest number. But then, the year on the time capsule, I question that, like, what is this 2094? There's got to be a reason for it. Well, being a numerology fan, I did the numerology, and it came up to the number 6. All right, what's the numerology number for the Masons 33? 6. Just thought I'd add that in here. Directly beneath that date, carved into some of the same stone, are the words New World Airport Commission. As mentioned in the prior video, that phrase may sound official, but here is a twist. There is no such organization. It has never existed. There's no record of it ever being formed. So why does that name appear on a permanent dedication stone at one of the busiest airports in the United States? Say it out loud, guys. New World Airport Commission. Sounds an awful lot like New World Order, a phrase that has been tied to the Freemasons for centuries. Considering the context, it's hard to believe that it is just a coincidence. That same dedication stone also marks the location of a sealed time capsule, which is not to be opened until the year 2094. Directly above it, mounted into the wall, is a braille plaque. This is where things become even more deliberate. Multiple people have reported seeing Freemasons holding up their membership cards in front of that braille plaque. These were not casual visitors. These were men with a reason to mark that exact spot. The question must be asked, what is it about that location that prompts that kind of silent acknowledgement? Elsewhere in the airport, one of the murals displays a disturbing scene. A militarized figure in a gas mask, clearly styled in the way that resembles Nazi imagery. It is holding a massive curved sword. The tip of that sword pierces a white dove, the universal symbol of peace. Most people assume this is part of a dark artistic message, but here's the part they miss. That specific sword is not generic. It is the same curved style found in the symbol of the Shriners, a well-known branch of the Freemasons. Their full name is the Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine. That sword is not random. It is symbolic. It represents an extension of Masonic influence. And in this mural, it is shown destroying peace. Now, take a walk to the baggage claim area. There you will find a set of gargoyle statues perched inside open Samsonite suitcases. To the average person, it may just look like quirky airport art, but consider this. The word Samsonite is an anagram for Mason site. Whether intentional or not, this detail fits the larger theme. Once again, symbolism is hiding in plain sight, and it is woven into places people would never think to question. To bring it full circle, let us consider the name of the terminal's central hub, the Great Hall. This is not just an elegant name for a large open space. The Freemasons use the exact same term to describe their own ceremonial meeting places, except it is Grand Hall. It is not a coincidence that this airport chose the same wording. It is a pattern. It is a signature. So when you put all of this together, the Freemason symbol carved into the dedication stone, the numerological sum of the 33 from the date, and the suspicious New World Airport Commission, the Shriner's sword, and the mural piercing a dove, the gargoyles rising from the Samsonite Mason site suitcases, the naming of the main terminal, the Great Hall, and the reports of Masons holding their membership cards next to the Braille plaque just above the sealed time capsule, it becomes increasingly clear that this is not random. These are not isolated oddities. These are messages. They are layers of influence and meaning placed carefully and deliberately. Denver International Airport is not just an airport. It is a monument to something deeper, something hidden and something unmistakably Masonic. Now, inside the airport, the murals continue this apocalyptic theme. They are massive, colorful, and filled with images that, when viewed together, send a message that is anything but peaceful. The image is dark, layered, and deeply symbolic. It's woven with real history, spiritual warnings, and quiet predictions. One part shows a child holding a Mayan tablet believed to represent the end times. That detail alone signals something greater than mere artistic expression, right? It points toward prophecy, something final, something irreversible. Nearby, a child lays in a coffin, while behind them a city burns, with flames rising into the sky as people flee in terror. Another figure, which is a mother, is shown holding a dead baby, surrounded by grief, loss, and destruction. These are not subtle themes. They are raw, emotional, and disturbing. In the middle of it all is a poem written by a child who died in a concentration camp. Its presence in the murals is quiet but heavy. It reads like a whisper from the past, like echoing innocence extinguished by evil. The placement of that poem almost calls to mind the Diary of Anne Frank, the thoughts of a child preserved under the weight of mass death and genocide. This is not just art, it is historical trauma fused with modern prophecy. Among the same scenes of chaos and sorrow, there is a depiction of children from around the world smiling and dressed in their traditional clothing, gathering as if in peace. But they are not just standing together. They are carrying weapons, and they are surrendering them and placing them before a little German boy who stands in the center. While the scene is painted in cheerful colors, the deeper meaning cannot be ignored. All the nations of the world are handing over their power, their ability to defend, their sovereignty, and placing it in the hands of one figure. It does not suggest harmony, it suggests submission. The symbolism is clear. What is being portrayed is not unity through freedom, but control through centralization. When you take all of it in, the burning cities, the coffins, the grieving families, the dead children, the prophecy of the Mayan tablet, meaning the end times, the echoes of the Holocaust, and the surrender of global weapons to a single child, no longer feels like public art. It feels like a message. These murals do not bring comfort. They forewarn. They tell the story of a world destroyed and rebuilt under a single power. It is spiritual, it is historical, and it is chilling. There are other details scattered throughout the airport that only deepen the apocalyptic undertone. Near one of the murals, specifically beneath the image of the militarized figure holding a weapon, there is a mining cart with the letters AUAG inscribed in it. Okay, at first glance it appears, to reference gold, AU, and silver, AG, on the periodic table. After all, Colorado has a long mining history, right? It really has a long mining history. So, that would make sense on the surface. Now, this gets a bit weird, but the positioning of this symbol, especially beneath a figure with such strong ties to death and destruction, leads to many conclusions. AUAG can also stand for the Australian antigen, a component linked to hepatitis and known for its deadly properties. When viewed in the light, the symbol is no longer a harmless nod to local history. It becomes a reference to a biological threat. Just one more layer in the already grim tone of the artwork. It raises questions. Why would a symbol associated with toxic antigens be placed directly below an image that already suggests militarism, death, and control? That same militarized figure is shown wearing a gas mask, not a subtle one, but a full-faced, aggressive-looking respirator. The visual impact of it is immediate. It evokes not only war, but also chemical warfare, biohazards, and government control during global crisis. It paints a picture of a world where the air is no longer safe, where survival means submission, and where fear is a background atmosphere. Now, adding to the suspicion, there have been long questions about the airport sprinkler systems, particularly beneath the terminal floors. They are officially described as fire safety equipment. Some have wondered whether they were built for something more sinister. Could they be designed to release gas or chemical agents in the event of an emergency or something else? The presence of possible antigen symbolism alongside these strange underfloor sprinkler networks only fuels a concern. It turns what should be ordinary infrastructure into something that feels like part of a contaminant or eradication plan. Combined with the murals, the warnings, and the coded symbols placed all throughout the airport, these details push the narrative even further. This does not feel like a facility designed purely for public travel. It feels orchestrated, layered with meanings and possibilities that point toward a future no one voted for. One filled with control, destruction, and the quiet suggestion that something is coming. Here is something that raises even more questions. In 2011, when officials grew concerned about the possible effects of a comet passing near Earth, then President Barack Obama was rushed to a secure location. That location was not Camp David. It was not NORAD. It was Denver International Airport. Out of every possible place in the country, this is the facility that they chose. That alone, my friends, should tell you something. The symbolism may be disturbing, but it seems the infrastructure behind it might be just as real and just as prepared. If I'm giving my own opinion here, I'll be honest. It sounds like Denver International Airport could serve two completely different purposes at the same time. On one hand, it looks like a refuge for the elite, something designed to protect high-ranking individuals in the event of a global crisis or apocalyptic event. On the other hand, it also gives off the feeling of a place where people could be held, almost like a containment zone. The fencing faces inward. The structure goes deep. The secrecy runs throughout. When you look at how FEMA has their systems and facilities set up, this feels eerily similar. Some have even speculated that it could play a role in population control, or that it's been designed to house or move large numbers of people quickly and silently if needed. We don't know for sure, but if you step back and look at the whole picture, this does not feel like a typical airport. It feels like it's been built for something else entirely different. So guys, is there really a conspiracy here? What do you think? Is Denver International Airport just an overbuilt travel hub with a weird taste in art? Or is it something else entirely? A headquarters? A bunker? A warning? We don't know. The truth is buried somewhere, maybe literally. We're going to leave that up to the listeners to decide. But one thing's for sure. There is no other airport in the world like this one. Too much has been built. Too many questions have been raised. And personally, I don't believe the story's over. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Sue, your host, and this is Origin Unexplained. If you have a story you'd like told or you would like to be on a podcast, email us at originunexplained, and that's UNX, no E there, PLAINED, at gmail.com.
Origin Unexplained.